This is a sweet lens. It's 24 millimeter f1.4. Great lens. And it's a new lens. Just came up with our mission. Sweet. So I'm going to mount that over here, looking at this way. Just gonna go up. Okay, here we are, JLP again, and we're gonna fly through station. We're going to go into Columbus, which means node 2, and then straight through into Columbus. We're gonna hit the head cone here, so I'm gonna have to move the camera. Okay, like that. Okay, everything's in focus on this camera. I love it with this lens. Space is a frontier, and there are frontiers all around us. There are frontiers in the ocean, in the stratosphere, under the stage of a microscope. And people who go to these frontiers want to share the experience. They want to record data to get the knowledge that can come from the frontier. And photography is a great medium in which to do this. Now, I've had the good fortune to call this place my home 3 times, totaling about a year of living off of the planet.
Building a confidence to do
Let's move to taking some pictures outside. And this is a view of my view, taken from the Russian airlock, the Shluzovoy Otsek. And it has one little window that looks forward to where our cupola is. And the cupola is this amazing collection of windows. We have 7 windows looking nadir at Earth. You can see 360 degrees around. You could look at the limb of Earth. And we fill it with cameras. We'll have 6, 7, 8 cameras, all set up a little differently, all set up with different lenses. Earth goes by really fast. You go 24,000 miles in 90 minutes. And if there's something you want to take a picture of, maybe your hometown or whatever, you have 3 to 5 seconds to get that shot off, or you'll have to wait another 11 days till you're over your hometown again. If you want to capture images of a sunset, and just as an example, sunset here on Earth, half a degree width of the lunar disk or the solar disk takes 2 minutes to set. In space, it takes 7 seconds. So you don't want to even take the time to turn your camera on. We keep our cameras on all the time. We never turn them off. Now, reflections. The windows on space station typically are 4 panes, which offer a pane in themselves because there's 8 surfaces now to offer reflections. And we've put anti-reflection coatings on these windows, but they still reflect a fair amount of light. And so you have to work hard to get rid of these reflections, particularly if you're taking images at nighttime, orbital nighttime. And so this is, I call it my turtleneck. It's kind of a turtleneck-like thing that I could spread out at the base of the cupola to keep unwanted stray light coming in from node 3, which is where the cupola is attached. There's a lot of instrument panels with little red lights and little green lights that you can't turn off, and they can spoil your picture. Now, sometimes you want to use the reflections. If you can't get rid of the reflections, let's learn to live with them. And so I call this 7 faces. Shadows. Shadows in space are really stark. And you're either full-blown sunlight or pitch black, and there's almost no in-between. If you go out for a stroll outside, it's the same way. You try to take pictures. We'll bring our cameras outside with us. You try to take pictures, and you have these shadows that you have to deal with. Sometimes you can use the shadows to your advantage. I sent this picture home to my boys, and I said, "We found Godzilla in space." Visiting vehicles. Another thing that you'll want to get pictures of, we have these unmanned vehicles that come up that are loaded with supplies. And they'll either dock automatically or we have to intervene if the automatics don't work quite correctly. And this happens to be an ATV. It's a ESA European vehicle that comes up and docks on the back of the Russian segment. And these are fire-breathing creatures. They will belch fire in a display of who can belch the most spectacular display. And of course, you'll want to try to record some of these images. Oh, this is one of my favorite. These are star streak pictures, star trail pictures. And the nighttime does not really look like this with your eyes, but it has all of these elements in it. These are multiple 30-second exposures stacked to show the orbital motion as well as the star trail motion. So I'm going to set the shutter speed to a 30th
of it to 30 seconds. Okay, and I happen to know that at ISO, and I use a little light on here so I can see works well. I'm going to put the ISO to 3200, 30-second exposures, at just bump back a little bit from f2.8. Let me check the alignment. The alignment is okay. Now, the intervalometer can't handle these things very well, so I put it on continuous low, and then the cable release, I'll just mash the cable release down and lock it, and then it'll take a 30-second exposure and recycle and take another 30-second exposure as fast as it possibly can. If I set the intervalometer to 30 seconds, you'd have to set it to something like 31 seconds, and then it'd take a 30-second exposure, and it would write to memory, and then wait for some number of hundreds of milliseconds, and then start in on another exposure, and you'll have that little gap of almost 1 second in between pictures, and I don't want that. I want it to cycle as fast as it can, and I find it, I put it on continuous low, mash the button, and hold it, and then I can take 120 images in a row, which will get me through a night pass at 30 seconds each. And so I don't use the intervalometer for this application.
These are images that have a lot of natural phenomenology visible. For example, look at the little flashes. That's one lightning storm as a function of time. And it flashes off. It's like someone moving around in a dark room with a strobe. They'll flash, move over 2 or 3 feet, and flash again. It's the same thing with one thunderstorm moving as a function of time. The star trails go around in circles. If you're used to seeing these, when you put a camera on Earth on a tripod, that's Polaris, the North Star. Earth is rotating around that. This happens to be the pitch axis of your spacecraft is what makes those circles. So they're similar to, but a little different than what you do on Earth. Here's another example. Just the physics involved in one of these pictures, the phenomenology. I could talk easily for a half hour just on one picture. They're fun pictures. Again, they're primarily for data. This is my absolute favorite lens for taking pictures inside of a spacecraft.
There we go. And it uncovers this amazing hunk of glass, aspheric optics. This is an amazing lens. It's a manual lens, so the camera doesn't know what it is unless you go into the settings and you tell the camera that I've put this lens on, which I've done.
Inside of a spacecraft, it's cramped, it's cluttered. You have long passageways that are not well lit. And this lens, it's an 8mm fisheye lens, is my favorite for recording these situations. Aurora. Aurora is one of the most beautiful things you could see at nighttime. You could see it on the length scale, half a continent. It's tough to take pictures of because you are moving and it is moving, and the dynamic range of the aurora exceeds what the camera can record. By taking these intervalometer images, maybe framed at 1 a second, maybe framed at 2 a second, you can reconstruct something close to what you see with your eye.
All our days are counted by the shooting stars. I see them in the night. I see them way up high, and underneath the moonlight, we're dancing under the lonely one that guides us through the night until we hit the ground. Why are we so far away? Why is this distance in our way? The stars, the stars, the stars. I'll give you a lifetime. I'll give you one moment in time. Don't let it pass you by. Just another chance to try. If I'll cover up my soldiers, will you cover up your eyes? And will you see the light somehow through this night? Why are we so far away? Why is this distance in our way? The stars, stars, the stars, stars.
a number of people have taken your images and created these amazing time-lapse movies out of that. Have you seen any of those, and if so, what was sort of your reaction to them?
I've seen a number of these time-lapse movies, and it does me good to see that people are actually using the pictures that I take. I think that whatever art form you enjoy creating, the best compliment is to see somebody take it and enjoy it themselves. And so seeing these movies that people have put together, and some of these are so beautiful, it brings a little tear to my eye, and it makes me wish that I could fly into space. Okay, we're making a movie. We're in node 1, and I'm gonna swing around here a little bit. Okay, here's our galley area. Now we're gonna fly. We're going into the lab. Now we're going into node 2. And we're turning the corner, going into JPM. I like the JPM. It's big and it's clean. It's not filled with a lot of clutter. Okay, and here we are at the airlock. Oh. Okay.